Have you ever wondered what separates a genius from the rest of us? Is it intelligence? A lucky break? Or maybe it's something else entirely? This is the story of a boy who didn't fit in, who stared at glowing screens long before the world cared. A boy who turned lines of code into a legacy that changed history. This is the story of how Bill Gates began. Bill Gates wasn't born with a keyboard in his hands. He was born into a well-off family in Seattle in 1955, with a lawyer father and a strong, spirited mother who led community boards and believed in tough love. But Bill, he was different. While other kids played outside, Bill buried himself in encyclopedias. He didn't just ask questions, he chased them. At age 11, he read the entire World Book Encyclopedia set, for fun. He was smart, yes, but more than that, he was obsessed with figuring things out. Teachers called him argumentative. He questioned everything. His mother called him stubborn. But deep inside, Bill was searching, not for rebellion, but for a system, a logic behind the world. Then one day at school, it happened. In 1968, Lakeside School got a rare donation, a teletype terminal connected to a mainframe miles away. It was ancient by today's standards, slow, clunky, and expensive. But to Bill, it was magic. He typed a command. The machine responded. It wasn't just about computers, it was about control. About telling a machine exactly what to do and watching it obey. From that moment on, Bill was hooked. He and a few friends, including Paul Allen, spent every spare hour coding, tinkering, even breaking into systems just to learn more. They weren't criminals, they were explorers, hacking not to harm, but to understand. And when the school banned them for excessive computer use, Bill wrote a letter, not to apologize, but to offer his skills. He said, "Let me help fix your scheduling software. In return, let us use the machines for free." And they agreed. A high school sophomore, negotiating with administrators, fixing bugs in adult systems, just for a chance to keep learning. While Bill was thriving with code, life delivered a brutal lesson. His best friend, Kent Evans, the one he planned to start a software company with, died in a tragic mountaineering accident. Kent was 17, full of promise, gone in an instant. Bill was devastated and shaken. For the first time, the future wasn't guaranteed. Life could vanish without warning. But instead of turning away, Bill turned inward. He made a decision. If I survive, I will not waste time. I will make it count. I'll finish what we started. And from that moment, his purpose hardened. He became more intense, more focused. Some called him cold, but he had seen loss, and it burned into him the urgency of legacy. In 1973, Bill entered Harvard, not for prestige, but because it was the next logical step. But while others studied law and economics, Bill haunted the computer lab. Then came a magazine article. Popular Electronics featured a new invention, the Altair 8800, a microcomputer that could fit on a desk. To most, it was a nerdy hobbyist's toy. To Bill and Paul Allen, it was the future. They called the company that made it and claimed they had written a version of BASIC, a programming language for the machine. They hadn't written a single line yet, but they believed they could. So they worked day and night, no sleep, no backup plan, just belief. Weeks later, they flew to New Mexico, loaded the program. It worked. The company was stunned. 2 kids had done what seasoned engineers couldn't, from scratch. That moment gave birth to a company called Microsoft. At just 20 years old, Bill Gates was leading a company. And it wasn't easy. He was demanding, brutally honest, tireless. If code wasn't perfect, it was worthless. If you were late, you weren't serious. If you didn't argue your point, you didn't believe in it. He wasn't trying to be liked. He was trying to build something that lasted. Microsoft wasn't glamorous. It was a cramped office filled with ramen noodles, sleeping bags, and mountains of printouts. But Bill had a vision, a world where software mattered more than hardware, where the mind could create more value than metal ever could. And against all odds, the industry listened. Bill was never the best speaker. He wasn't charming in the usual sense. He wasn't the kind of leader who smiled for the cameras. But what he had was clarity. He could look years ahead, see patterns others missed, bet big, and double down when it mattered most. He predicted a computer on every desk in every home, at a time when most people didn't even know what a computer was. He believed in the mind's ability to shape the world and fought for that belief line by line, day by day. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. Looking back, Bill admitted something unexpected. He said, "If I were born today, people might say I was on the autism spectrum." He was obsessive, awkward, socially unaware at times, but he also had focus, grit, and a tireless curiosity. Bill didn't try to be someone else. He leaned into who he was, and that became his superpower. He turned isolation into invention, frustration into software, loss into legacy, because sometimes what makes you different is exactly what the world needs most. So what can we learn from the beginnings of Bill Gates? Maybe it's this: you don't need to be the smartest, or the richest, or even the most confident. You just need to stay curious, to believe that your passion, however strange, might just matter, and to keep going long after others stop. The world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence. It rewards people who chase answers no one else sees. Bill Gates didn't become Bill Gates overnight. He started as a kid with questions. And maybe that's where your story starts too. So go ahead, write your own code, create your own future, because the next big idea might just be waiting inside you. If this story moved something inside you, if it reminded you that there's a spark of greatness in all of us, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who needs a little hope today. And if you want to dive deeper into Bill Gates' journey beyond what we could share here, I highly recommend reading his memoir, Source Code: My Beginnings. It's not a technical manual. It's a raw, insightful look into the early years of one of the greatest minds of our time, his fears, failures, and defining moments. I've left a link to the book in the video description. If you purchase through that link, it won't cost you anything extra, but it will help support this channel and allow us to keep creating inspiring content like this. Check out the book below, start reading, and maybe start writing your own story too.